Good evening. Whoa. I wasn't expecting that. I'm Suzanne Simpson, and I'm the principal here at Eastern, and I want to welcome you to tonight's concert. I'm going to call this the end to an incredibly busy March, even though I know it's April. It is the end to an incredibly busy March, and these guys have gone nonstop at all different stuff, from pep bands to concerts to running around like crazy at Disney World, some of them. And we're excited to be here tonight. Kratz normally gives me a script, but he did not. So I hope you enjoyed tonight's concert. Thank you for braving the rain. And without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to the band.
Thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for supporting your students and making it possible for them to make music every single day. The last piece that we have for you before we do a very quick transition is a piece called Due North. It is a very up-tempo, fairly transfer-like piece that we thought would be a very good closure. We're going to have a brief transition period. It's going to take us about 5 minutes to move basically every piece of percussion that we own onto the stage and get it set up for our percussion ensemble to close out the evening. After that, our percussion ensemble will have a couple of pieces that they will perform for you to end our concert. I'm very aware that several of you may be very curious to see who wins the NCAA National Championship. I'm very invested in if Florida wins because that's one of my brackets, so I understand. Again, I appreciate you coming out, and most of all, I appreciate your support for your students and making sure that they have everything that they need to do this wonderful thing called making music once a day. We hope you enjoy our last piece before we transition, Due North by Michael Sweeney. Again, I want to thank you so much for coming out tonight. It's always a pleasure to perform. We hear the same music inside the same four walls every single day, so be able to get out and be able to share this with you is really special. I want to thank Ms. Simpson for being here. I really want to thank, I don't know what Ms. Simpson and Ms. Brantley did. I don't know if your students have said anything about the temperature that has been in this wing in the last few days, but the air came on at about 9:35 this morning. So I don't know what magical powers y'all worked to pull that off, but I am forever in your debt if that, I'll lunch duty, bus duty, whatever, I'm your guy. Keep the air on.
I heard that, and they all heard that.
Yeah, I know, that's gonna come back to bite me. But I do appreciate, our admin does a whole lot, as do the faculty and staff here at Eastern, to make sure that the students are able to do all these things, and that we always have the facilities and the support to give them everything possible. So our closing piece for you tonight is a piece called Gotham 1940, which definitely is a throwback to the beginning and really early comic book days of Batman. So it's a slightly mysterious sounding piece, a little bit different from the first one. We hope you enjoy it. Thank you again for coming out.